I promised a few of you I was going to start off today with a short story called The Storm Junkie. If you haven't heard it, I'm going to have a little fun. I don't know if you'll have fun or not. Did you guys know that before, and by the way, it's a story. It's not a true story, but it's a story. Did you know that Derek Lee, one of our deacons, before he was a Kentucky fan, he was a sailor? Did you know this? Like big, like sailboat, all over Barkley Lake and Kentucky Lake. And one day he called me and he said, "This weekend I'm taking you sailing." And now I've never really been sailing. I thought it would be fun to go sailing. And when one of the deacons calls and says, "You're going with me," you go. So I'm thinking, okay, I want to find a way to do this. So the day came. It was a Saturday morning. I was supposed to meet him at the marina at 5 a.m. Now I'm a coon hunter. I go to bed about 5. Like that's not normally. I'm a night guy, so mornings were not. I wasn't really excited about that. But I went to bed early. I got up the next morning and I met him down there. At the place where his boat was. It was 5 a.m. And there was a storm rolling in. I thought to myself, surely there's no way that we're going to sail in all this. It's raining and the wind is blowing and we get there, and you can just imagine, it's as if we were walking into Rupp Arena. This guy's excited. I mean, he's so excited. He's got me there. He's asking me questions. Did you bring your life jacket? Did you wear the right kind of boat shoes? Do you have the little sailor's hat? Do you have all of that? And I'm dressed up, trying to make sure that I'm ready to go on the perfect sailing trip with Derek. You remember this, man? You remember this? Is a great story. And so we get there, and the first thing that we notice, because I'm new to this, and there are all these words like port and starboard, and they throw out hull and sloop and all these cool boat words that I don't know. I'm trying to learn. I've got my little boat word dictionary in my pocket, trying to follow along and look smart. We get out of my truck, and he gets out of his Kentucky Blue truck, and we walk over to where the boat is, and there's the strangest thing I see. I see something that's, to this day, one of the strangest things I've ever seen. There's a man, and he's on his boat. I took a picture of it. It's right there in the top, it would be top right-hand corner. There's a man, he's in the parking lot where his boat is. Now, his boat is on dry dock. It's not even on a trailer. I mean, there's no way this boat is not going in the water, but he's up on this boat, and he's shouting out maritime commands. Like man the line, and someone else hoist the sail, and he's pretending. He's all excited, shouting out, and I mean, he is serious. He's got both hands on the wheel, and he's yelling. He's got two other guys running around and pulling lines and raising up the sail. And the whole time, the boat's on the ground. It's not even out in the water. And I walk over to him and I said, "Man, what are you doing?" And he said, I'm sailing the Prominent Dreamer." It's the name of his boat. Because people name their boats cool stuff. Did you know that? If I ever get a sailboat, I'm going to name it Visitation. That way, when you call the office looking for me, Jennifer can say, "He's out on visitation." Sounds real spiritual. It's like awesome. You will never know. You'll never know. I'm out on the lake. Anyway, you got there, right? That one was free of charge. So the Prominent Dreamer, he's yelling. He's all excited. I'm looking at Derek. Derek's looking at me. We're both wondering, like, this guy's obviously a Louisville fan. I mean, like, something's wrong with him. I don't know what's going on. But I asked the guy, so why in the world are you doing this? And he said, "Haven't you seen the weather?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "That wind is blowing and the rain is falling. There's no way in the world I'm going to risk my boat by putting it in the water. There's no way." So me and the Prominent Dreamer, we're going to stay right up here in the safety of the parking lot. That's where we're going to stay. And I went, okay, to each his own. These sailors, man, these are odd people, okay? So then we go out, we get on Derek and Donna's boat, and Derek and I start headed out into the water, and we're putt-putting it with a little bitty engine getting out of the marina, and we get out on the main lake, and the wind is going crazy, and it's whipping all these different things, and ultimately, I see something else. Now, I didn't really understand this at first. I had to ask Derek what's going on. There's a boat. It's a very large sloop-style, like racing boat with a large, it's got all this really cool stuff, but the sails are not up. The sails are down. They're wrapped up with ropes and tied, and they've got vinyl wrapped around them, but the boat is moving at like 30 knots. Like it's chunking. It's going hard. And then out of nowhere, not only that, it's going into the wind, like against the wind. And Derek and I are just, you remember this? It was so good. Like we're just watching this, and the guy, he starts yelling out these maritime commands. He starts lifting or hoisting, that's the word, his sail. And so going against the wind, the sail goes up. Now, this is the only sailboat I've ever seen that's creating wake. I mean, it is moving. Like it's popping and cracking, but it's going right into the wind. And I'm wondering, what is this guy doing? Because as the sail goes up, the sail is literally filling with wind, pushing against it, going in the opposite direction of what the boat is supposed to be going. The wind is blowing north, he's sailing south, and he's throwing all kinds of mist and making these huge, huge waves. He's got a skier behind it. I mean, like something's going on. We get where we can see, and I realize the problem. This guy has 2 300 horsepower Mercury engines strapped to the back of his sailboat. And he's pretty angry because before you know it, the sail starts to break and the mast cracks, and he's cursing the wind as how dare the wind tear down the mast and the sail on his boat. You know what he called it? On the back of the boat, it was called My Way. That was the name of his boat. It's called My Way. I thought that's a pretty interesting name for this boat. Before you know it, the mast on the My Way breaks and falls back down on top of the boat where stood a captain who was so angry with the wind. How dare it tear apart his boat or think that it had the right to tell his boat which direction it wanted to go or needed to go. Well, by this time, I have to admit, I'm glad I'm on Derek's boat because he seems pretty sensible. Compared to the other sailor guys I'm noticing, I'm thinking these 2 people are crazy, but Derek is very sober-minded, and safe. So I feel good about it. Then I see something else. I'm telling you, it's the craziest day on Kentucky Lake. It's the craziest day. We go on out a little further. We're actually headed down. We're past Sled Creek. We're getting on down a little further south on the lake. And this time, the sun has come out. The wind has picked up. It is really like the perfect time. Derek is just about to hoist our sails when we see something so strange. This might be the strangest thing that I saw. It's a sailboat. It's a catamaran. It's just the 2 sailboats side by side with the really cool kind of net thing in the middle. And it's got one great big mast that goes up in the center. It's made for pleasure and fun. And it's got people, they're in their swimsuits, and they're just kind of hanging out. But the sail is up, and this catamaran, it's interesting. It's just hopping on top of the water, just bouncing, but not going anywhere. And we get up a little closer, and I see a line going off this side and a line going off this side and a third line coming off the bow. And I realize this guy's got like 4 anchors out. And he's totally anchored out, and yet his sail is still up. And he can't understand why the wind won't let him go. He's yelling at the boat, go forward. Come on, let's go. Take up the wind. He's changing the direction of the sails, and all different kinds of stuff's going on, and nothing's happening. The boat is just standing in one spot, hopping up and down. We got closer. I could see the name of the boat. It was called the Tide Down. That's what it was. Tide Down. Eventually, one of the lines snapped, and when the line snapped, the wind turned the boat over up on its side, and it capsized right in front of us. By this time, I'm thinking, I'm ready to go back to the. I'm not interested in this at all. I've had my fill. Derek, you have gotten me into something I did not want any part of. I'm not. These sailors are crazy. I mean, after I saw the prominent dreamer yelling at nothing, and then you see the My Way going against the wind, and you got the Tide Down, thinks he's sailing, but he's got anchors out in every direction, keeping him from moving in any way whatsoever. But then I got to see that this last boat was worth the whole trip. It's worth the whole trip. My favorite boat. It had a great big spinnaker. That's a fancy word for really cool sail that's colorful and makes the boat go really fast. If you've ever watched the boat races and stuff on cable. They usually have a big spinnaker sail. It's really cool. It's colorful. It was bright. It was tall. And this boat, man, this boat was moving on. Totally silent, crowned up on top of the water, moving at large speeds. In fact, we only saw it for a while, but I thought to myself, man, that guy knows how to sail. And on the back of his boat as he went by, the name of the boat was the Storm Junkie. The Storm Junkie. Okay, so you guys have figured out this is a made-up story, right? I told you it was a story. I didn't tell you it was a true story. It's a bit of a parable that I've used for a long time. I want to just let it sink in for just a moment. We're learning about the Holy Spirit. The New Testament describes the Holy Spirit as the wind or the breath of God. We might even occasionally talk about things in our culture, in our world. We sing about someone being the wind beneath our wings, right? We talk about someone when we get harmed or hurt or we're tired. What do we say? We say, I feel like the wind's been knocked out of me, right? It's a good metaphor for us as a people. The Holy Spirit is the wind of God that propels and moves us forward. But some of us, as Christ followers, we really struggle with relating to the Spirit. And some of us are like the prominent dreamer. You see, we know all the words. We know how to yell them and when to say them. We have everything under control on our boat. We have our life guided and directed, but we're so afraid of what the wind will do to us that we choose to live our life on the shore and never even be willing to cast off into the place where the wind could actually do something or take us somewhere. And so we pretend. We pretend to be Spirit-driven or Spirit-guided, all the while holding hard to the protection of feeling good ground under our feet and making sure that we're safe.